And it looked interesting.
Well, it's plant-based, so that's fun.
I mean, isn't everything fucking plant-based that's in a drink? I couldn't imagine there's animal byproduct in a fucking drink.
That's true. Like, oh, there's pork in my energy drink?
Pork. I mean, there is that bacon-flavored soda.
There's...
Welcome back to the show. I'm John.
I'm Brittany.
And this is...
Random Rewind.
With all the freaking craziness with AI going on in the world right now, and I say craziness in a good way because the amount of AI that's helped us out, even with editing this podcast, is just fucking incredible. So what we're gonna kind of do today, so I say kind of all the fucking time.
What are we gonna kind of do?
So what are we gonna do today is step back in time to all of these wonderful movies that we love to watch.
Yes.
And see if they got our future or something close to our future, our current time and place, correct.
Yeah.
Like go back to the 1968 movies and go, yeah, they got that fucking right.
Right.
Like
Everything,
fucking spot on predictions.
Everything that they guessed, we're gonna see what was right and what was wrong. You know.
Right. Exactly.
Like the one that I can think of that first comes to mind is the fact that in Idiocracy they're wearing Crocs.
Yeah. Yes.
They wanted future shoes, and they said no one's gonna wear these shoes in the future.
No one's gonna wear Crocs. Who the hell wears Crocs?
And they got that right.
Holy croc.
Everybody wears Crocs.
Exactly.
So holy croc.
Yeah, holy Crocs.
Holy croc.
I've never owned a pair of Crocs, but I think every one of my friends that I've ever met has had a pair on at some point.
I have a pair of knockoff. I can't afford the real thing.
They're expensive now.
I know foam. It's
they used to be cheap as hell. They used to be like $20, I think, when they first came out.
I know, but now they're
like $50 fucking, just like Tom's.
Yeah, and you can get like there's platform ones. There's like boots.
For the
there's
kids,
so many.
we bought these they're called niblets. They plug in. They plug into the little holes in the Crocs, and you can put different designs.
Oh, we have those are huge.
Yeah, we had like packs of them, like the Wally ones,
and you can just pick out what you want your shoe for the day.
There was
it's fun.
There was a Crocs outlet years ago when we lived in, I think when we lived in Rancho Cucamonga, and it was in Irvine or Santa Ana or something like that. And we went down there and Chauncey picked up Crocs for the kids. We weren't wearing Crocs at the time. So she picked them out for the kids and we bought a bunch of these packs of these like little...
Charms or
plugins or whatever.
Yeah, what would you call it?
I don't know, but they were plugins. They were like $2 for like a case of them.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No, now I think they're like $5 for like 2.
Yeah, depending on the thing. A lot of people make them. It's a cute idea. It's cute. Anytime you can
decorate your stuff.
Exactly. Personalization is always a great time.
The kids' version of bling, I guess.
Yeah,
back
pretty
in the
much.
day.
It's cute. Crocs are great for kids. Not for me. I have a hard time walking in them, but I think to each their own.
Yeah, exactly. No, they're like a good waterproof summertime shoe.
Or a garden shoe.
Or garden shoe, yeah, for sure. I don't have a pair, but I'm sure that they kind of remind me of like a foam Jesus sandal, basically. That's what Jesus would have wore today.
That's what Jesus
he would have wore Crocs. No, he would have wore I don't know.
Patagonia.
Patagonia.
Oh, for sure, Jesus would have rocked Patagonia.
Yeah, Patagonia. Oh man. Anyway, so there's a lot of movies, kind of like Idiocracy, where they predicted the future. There are TV shows too that do it very well. But if we got into things like The Simpsons, I think we could do an entire episode.
Oh, we could, because they have at least 4 or 5 episodes of the future
of just stuff they predicted that would have
like just
already
predictions,
happened.
not even their
just predictions.
Oh yeah,
stuff that's actually happened, and I'm not going to even get into that.
Cover their future one, because they do have episodes that do go into the future. Where they show them as... Right. That's what you're talking about that. But the predictions thing, oh my gosh.
I mean, are just so spot on. Some of them are kind of vague, obviously, because somebody just showed one about the fires. Sorry. I mean, my heart goes out to everybody in freaking in Maui and Hawaii right now in Canada and up in Washington.
And can I just point out really fast, if you are an investor or a realtor... and you think it's okay to go to somebody who just lost their home that they've had for generations, most of these people, and you're going to ask them to sell their land?
Yeah.
Exactly what John didn't say but said.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a podcast, but you know what finger we're holding up.
Exactly. No, I think is it the mayor or somebody from the island council or city council or state or something put a moratorium against sales. Sales, so they can't sell anything
and
right
it's
now.
just insane
because there's so many predatory. Because you're feeding off of people's fucking misery right now. I know, right?
Because you're saying, oh well, to rebuild this house, it's going to cost this. So why don't you just sell to us and we'll take the land?
Yeah, we'll buy it. Pennies on the freaking dollar.
It is heartbreaking.
No, it's oh my god.
It's literally heartbreaking.
They're literally stealing this property. They're stealing the property. Yeah, fuck you if you're that person.
Yeah, so, you guys, come on.
You know what? Unfollow, unwatch, stop everything. Just don't follow us if you're that person. Seriously, I don't need you as a freaking human being.
We do care about human decency, so it's
that's not part of it.
And once again, our hearts go completely out to the victims, and it's such a horrible situation that could have not happened at all. But you know what?
It did, and our hearts go out to everybody in the city of Lahaina, Front Street, and frickin' on Maui, and the Big Island, and everywhere else that this is happening to. So anyway, back to lighter-hearted things.
Oh, wait a second. Are you saying Back to the Future?
Well, yeah.
Pretty much, right?
Pretty much. Let's go back to the...
We're going back to when people were talking about the future.
The future, yeah. And Back to the Future 2, specifically, had a buttload of predictions. Because they landed in... I know a lot of people have done this to death 7 years ago.
Well, because in 2015 was the time.
Exactly. That's when they arrived in our future.
Exactly. But there is things now that have come up that they did get right that weren't super huge in 2015.
Exactly. And one that actually happened a year later.
Just 1 year later than 15?
1 year later from 2015 that they predicted. It was close. It wasn't exact. They predicted that in 2015 the Cubs win the World Series.
That's right.
In 2016, the Cubs won the World Series.
They were so close!
First time in 108 years.
That's insane.
That freaking nuts?
That's insane. Oh,
just nuts.
And speaking of that, they also said in Back to the Future 2 that they were playing a team from Florida, right? The Florida, I wrote it down, but a team from Florida, which when that movie was made, there was not
no Florida baseball team. Right, and now there is.
So another prediction that they got correct is that there was going to be a team from Florida. Right. Which... I mean,
that happened like 8 years ago, something like that.
That was when the team got established in Florida. I'm not exactly sure, but I know there wasn't one when the movie came out.
Right, and now there is. So that's a good little prediction. It's pretty interesting. One prediction they did get in that movie completely fucking wrong, but they, to a certain degree, there's a scene where he's walking in downtown Times Square area, their version of Times Square area. There's a movie theater and there's Jaws 19.
Oh my gosh, Jaws 19.
The reason why they did that Jaws 19 thing was they're kind of poking fun at the fact that we love sequels, especially in the 80s.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my, 80s and 90s in particular. We loved sequels, like part 1, 2, 3.
You're right.
How many Rockies are there?
Absolutely.
You know what I
mean?
They
completely got that. How many? We just talked about that last episode.
Alexa, pipe down.
That always happens.
Alexa,
she's playing music? Copyright Alexa.
Jeez.
Hello.
Alexa, mute yourself.
Like,
hopefully that works. I don't know if that'll work.
I'm not talking anymore.
I pressed the mute button, but the power must have went out and reset.
They like to just randomly show up when we're talking about stuff.
All the time. Future.
Oh, but speaking of Alexa.
No, pipe down, Alexa. Cancel.
When they make the hydrated pizza in Back to the Future 2, she speaks into it, right? She says power, so that became something of the future because look, we just witnessed it right now.
We can talk into devices all the time now. Yeah, and there are devices, other than watches and phones and stupid little devices that sit on our countertops that you can talk to. There are voice-activated things. Our TVs are voice-activated, and if you get specific TVs that can be,
all the time
3 of them that are.
Searching on my controller because I don't want to type the whole thing out.
Exactly,
so I just hit the button,
especially
I'm
if it's something
easy. Blue.
Exactly, because it makes our lives a lot easier.
Wait,
there's voice-controlled stoves. There's voice-controlled refrigerators.
I voice control my phone. My text messages. I talk into it so it writes out my text message.
Right, exactly.
Which kind of defeats the purpose, but
Well, they're gonna do voice texts soon, like voice text messages in the next iteration of iPhone.
They have that back and forth where you can send voice, or usually you have to download the app or whatever, and it's almost like the chirps where you go back and forth, but it saves it and then you can just voice memo through it.
Oh,
but you're saying they're going to bring it to iPhone where it's just in the platform all the time.
That's part of an option to send, as opposed to sending a text, to send either a video clip or voice clip.
Got it. So when you're angry, you can be like, "Get over here right now!"
Yeah, exactly. Maybe more context versus a text message, though.
You can do that right now. You just go on Snapchat or Instagram. I feel like every app has that.
There's apps that'll do that right now, but if it's something native to the phone, you don't have to worry about.
It's just better when it's
just
native.
Clean.
Except for when it comes to time for you to send that video to my Android, and then it goes.
Well, no, because it's
crazy.
So what they did recently was Android started adopting some of the stuff that iPhone does regularly. So you get like emojis and things like that.
You mean the opposite? Because
Android.
Yeah, no. Android is better than iPhone.
Well, you're sadly mistaken, but
and they did a lot of stuff first.
Android is the one that adopted the iPhone. Norm, because people were tired of getting. Little boxes instead of icons and stuff.
Oh yeah,
on your side.
Because we'll just get a thing, or with iMessage, if you emphasize or you laugh or if you react to a message,
you don't get anything.
Yes, we do. Now it just says so and so emphasize this text. But now it's a new separate message.
Right, but that didn't used to occur as of like 3 years ago.
Oh, I remember.
That's something that was
maybe 3 years ago. I was gonna say it happened. I remember when it happened.
Not even 3 years ago, like 2 years ago.
And I thought it was weird. I'm like, what do you like? And I'm like, then I figured it out obviously because we don't have the iMessage thing.
Yeah.
But eventually, it's like, it's all gonna everyone adopts the thing,
of the same
and
thing. Right.
I'm not. I just wanted to fight because I like to fight. I'm not taught. I'm like, I literally have the iPad in front of me.
I know. Sitting here with a fucking iPad going.
Yeah, because as far as iPads go for video editing, like that's the best. That's the only choice really when it comes to tablets. So I can't knock it
for sure.
I can't knock it,
especially for like a standalone. It's almost a full PC.
It is. It is. If I had the keyboard, it would be a full computer.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't because that shit's $200.
Yeah, I know. You can get aftermarket ones for a lot less. That work really well. That work really, really well.
They're cheaper, but future. But exactly.
Well, speaking of tablets, actually, Back to the Future aside. There's a movie called 2001: Space Odyssey. Have you ever seen it? You probably haven't, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. I've heard of it.
In that movie, there's numerous scenes where I can't remember the character's name, but he's talking to his daughter at home on FaceTime through a tablet while he's eating fucking dinner. And it's literally a tablet.
It's just like a flat
elongated version of it, but you have a critter.
Well, I'm at your house, so this critter showed up at my house.
I don't know why there's ants in here. There's no food in here. Anyway,
because it's the middle of summer and they're hot.
They predicted that in Space Odyssey, and that was in 1968.
That's crazy.
That's fucking nuts.
That's pretty cool.
There's a few things they predicted in that movie that kind of threw me for a loop. We were just talking to this idiot up here. I'm going to call her an idiot right now because I don't want
call her by your name.
I can't call her by her name because she'll just chime in. They had a HAL 9000 system, which was basically an AI that you would talk to.
Okay.
And it controlled the ship. Speaking of the ship, they predicted the International Space Station because that's what that was. And space tours where rockets would jump up to the space station and back. Yeah, and they're selling tickets for that now.
When we've talked about that, I'm not going.
Yeah, I'm not going.
I'm not gonna go.
No. I want to. If you're gonna send people to a location, it better be like human ready, not just a space that's specialized for astronauts.
I would never.
That I would be afraid to touch anything in that facility. No.
I don't want to go to space, and I don't want to go to the ocean. Because, I just don't feel like imploding.
Near the ocean.
I mean, under the ocean. Deep
in the ocean.
I mean, under the
I'm
ocean.
Good. Hard pass on that because
I don't feel like
too many
imploding.
variables that I don't want to be crushed in a tin can. Haha.
I know. I want to go back. Well,
sorry, not too soon, by the way.
even before that incident, I mean, I'm not a big under person. I don't want to be underwater. I don't want to be underground. I was in a mine shaft. I freaking lost my shit. I tried to leave. They wouldn't let me. I'm like, the miner's like, I'll take care of you. I'm like, okay, creepy ass dude in the middle of a big ass hole. Like, I'm scared. I want to get out. I don't like being underground. I don't like being underwater. So I'm assuming that being in space is that same sort of feeling. Like,
yeah, that feeling of like claustrophobia.
Is that what it is?
Really
is
quick.
It a claustrophobic thing?
Yeah, it is. And then the fear of just being just annihilated by
trapped.
pressure.
Like the fear of being trapped.
We went on a tour through this. I can't remember the name of the caves when I was little. We used to go camping a lot. My dad Mom and Dad took us onto this little tour through this cave system.
Oh,
right?
Fun! I would do that.
It was a big group of people. It wasn't just us.
Yeah, like a whole tour.
And then little lights, like if your watch lit up, like we had back then. They didn't have digital watches.
I know. I remember.
But they had the little flashlights on the watches, and you turn it on, and it would light up the entire cave. It was that dark.
It's because it's so dark that any little bit of light would just.
Exactly. So we ended up in this big chamber, right? It was massive, though. It wasn't like tight or anything in the spot. And I think this is what kind of brought on my fear of heights.
Ooh.
We all sat down on this edge. It looked like it was not man-made, but it was chiseled out of the rock.
Okay.
So everybody was sitting on these rocks. We're all sitting, and the dude's talking, right? And we turn around and look, and it was like behind us, like right where we're sitting right now. Like if you lean back, it was like 100-foot like sheer drop into blackness.
That's what I don't like. The fucking mine shaft was the same thing.
Yeah, no.
I had my 3-year-old down there, like there's a 30-foot hole right behind you in the dark, and you're like,
thanks, man.
We paid for this?
I'm good to pass. Yeah, exactly. We paid.
I paid to come here. I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, no, thank you.
The caves, I think I could do. Caves are dope.
But there were a lot of spots that were tight where you were crawling through where it was only one man.
Oh yeah, no.
Area that was felt like no. I see a lot of videos of that stuff, and that's how
any crawling or anytime they have to swim under something to get out.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like, that is terrifying.
Oh hell no! I'm like, what makes you think this is a good idea? But you do you. I mean,
I can hold my breath for a total of 3 seconds. So I'm not getting anywhere fast. I'm not a good swimmer. I'll admit it right now.
I'm not going to be doing like those 30-second dives.
There's no way. I can't even go down. I'm just, you know what? Yeah. I'm just not going to come.
She's just not.
Yeah. I'll take pictures.
Again, Brittany and water are a big fucking no-no unless it's like a chair in the poolside. That's it.
Hey, I like to float on the river.
Exactly, you're on top.
It's true. Good. Not going underneath. I'm not going. Oh, anyway, besides irrational fears.
Yeah.
Future.
But yeah, they predicted 3 things that actually pretty much came to reality. Now the AI in that system for Space Odyssey was super advanced because it controlled the whole ship and it could think for itself, and it got really ominous.
But you don't think that's going to happen
Spoilers from 1968.
In the future?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Our future?
I think we're almost there. Actually, I think we're within the next 5 to 6 years. We're really close to something being that was kind of sentient to the point where you remember the robot in WALL-E that controlled the ship. It's identical to that.
It's the same sort of thing where it's like this
self-preservation of everything was its own thought process.
Yeah. So we are close to that, I feel like, because they say that AI learns and this and that.
It is, but there's no sentient AI as of this point that we're aware of.
Oh yeah, it was like that we know of.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to tell us.
Tell us until it's
Why
too
would
late.
They tell you?
Until freaking
ittle be
Skynet comes down and freaking kills us all.
I was going to say, we won't know about it until it's bad.
Terminator 2 could be a vision of the future, or iRobot, all those movies where
that's true.
Robots being made to take over humanity, The Matrix, all those futuristic things where AI takes over the world.
Well, even and it's funny because in Futurama, where it's the future, robots and people are just they're
commingling. Yeah. Well, that's like kind of like the Jetsons and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
They kind of like they're your household helpers. In iRobot, they kind of did the same thing where they had these robots that you purchased to be your helper at home.
Yeah.
And what happened is this main computer AI that controlled all these took them all over to take over mankind because mankind was the problem on the planet.
Smart. I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I was an AI robot.
Yeah, they had to.
Seems like the problem with the Earth is people. Like, dig it.
I mean, unfortunately, yeah, it kind of is.
I mean, I don't want to.
It's not all people. There's a huge group of people specifically that you can kind of pinpoint as being the problem. But we're not going to get into that because that can get really dark.
I'm sorry we're being so political today.
Yeah, I know.
We're trying not to be, but we're adults. Just
stuff like that. Especially when we're talking about the future. There's a lot of things that were predicted from movies that had to do with what politics is pushed our way right now.
Exactly.
So,
But my newest favorite future thing, which is Simpsons based, and I did post it on our Instagram story.
Did you?
Not that long ago. Is when. In the Halloween episode, when it's the Bill Clinton and Bob Dole election, and they steal Bill Clinton and Bob Dole, and they turn themselves into them because they're like he gets abducted. They said, "Take me to your leader," and he goes, "Well, we don't know who the leader is yet because there's an election."
So they take them both.
So they took them both, and then it turned out, then Homer gets up and pulls off the mask during a debate or something. And I was like, oh yeah, this is the future. Like aliens are just gonna be undercover as like world leaders.
Yeah, they're just taking over real people. I mean, look at Mark Zuckerberg. He's a freaking lizard person.
I don't want to knock how people look, but like, yeah.
I don't know, man. How he acts and looks, not just how he looks, man. He acts like a lizard person. Anyway,
like, well,
going back to the future.
Back to the future.
There are a few things, quirks in Back to the Future that have nothing to do with the future that kind of threw me off about the freaking movie. When I first watched the movie, it fooled me as a kid, but it didn't fool me as an adult. Obviously, is Crispin Glover played George in Back to the Future 1, right?
Yes.
And funny story about Crispin Glover. Him and Nicolas Cage, we were in Los Angeles at Weller Court.
Okay.
And we were shopping. I can't remember the name of the bookstore that's upstairs on the second floor. It's like an anime bookstore, right?
Okay.
We're in there, and I'm looking at a book, and guy grabs a book, and I hear the voice, and it's Nicolas Cage standing next to me. And what
did he say to you?
That's a hint to me. He was talking.
But you heard him.
Him and Crispin Glover were hanging out. They were just chatting about, my dad bought me books like this when I was. And they started talking about their parents.
Oh my gosh! I just picture you being like a little secret stalker, like this.
No, because I did work in the film industry for a while. I have a respect for people's space when they're out in public.
Oh, absolutely.
That's their private time. I feel like it's so intrusive for people to kind of get in there. Can I have a...
Well, I guess it's a 50-50 because I've had influencers and or celebrities have said like, hey, you can come and say hi to me when I'm out in public. That's different.
You're being invited.
But do not show up to my house kind of shit.
Don't show up to my house. Don't show up while I'm having dinner with my family.
Since they were in a public scenario and they were just... It wouldn't have been so weird for you to be like, hey guys, I'm a huge fan, just wanted to say hey.
The one thing I did get from him, and I'm never going to disclose this in a million fucking years, we're at the register.
Okay.
I'm in line also behind Nicolas Cage.
Oh my gosh.
And they have a rewards program.
Okay.
And you give your phone number. I don't know if it's an old number or a home number or a generic number, but he rattled off his phone number.
He probably has a fake number.
He probably has a million numbers,
I was going to say, but he probably has a fake number.
But I thought that was, that's not like I'd ever fucking call him. That's fucking creepy. Like, you know what I mean? That's super freaking creepy. But I'm like, yeah, it had to have been a fake number.
It's got to be one of those that's like, if you call it, nothing happens. It's one of those you just use at the grocery store that you've had forever. Like
yeah, probably. Yeah, ours is like our old phone number, our old landline that we had from. Yeah, because we still use it.
No, not your landline number. Do you remember Nicolas Cage's phone number?
I had it in my mind for a while, then I forgot about it because I'm like, I don't need it.
Dang it! I was like, let's try it.
That was a 213 number, but yeah.
Let's go. Let's call it right now. Yeah. See if he answers.
Here, let's post it right here on the bottom of the screen.
Like, hey,
you can only get it if you watch this on YouTube.
I know, right? We're going to invite him to the podcast. Be like, hey, we wanted to talk about you.
Exactly.
Okay, but the Crispin Glover situation.
Yes.
Which honestly, it relates to our present time.
Right now, everybody is on strike. Exactly. This is exactly what happened
with
then.
SAG. That's the word I'm looking for.
But he actually put forth, because of his lawsuit against the studios, he got a law passed saying they can no longer use your likeness.
Which is awesome.
In a film because they tried to use his likeness.
They used a prosthetic mask and put it on a freaking actor. And then
what was the actor's name?
I'm not sure his name, but they...
Jeffrey Wiseman.
They put him upside down because it looked creepy.
You could tell he had prosthetics on. I mean, so did what's her name? Leah Thompson, right?
Oh, of course
she also had prosthetics on because they were to look old. Yes.
She was the actress. Could you imagine going into work and then being like, here, put this face on.
Yeah, pretend to be this other dude. That was weird.
It was weird. But, and then they only had that little part of it because you can't... Crispin Glover as a person, his mannerisms and how he is...
Just his appearance,
so unique.
Everything is very unique about the man.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's not an average face in the freaking crowd.
Absolutely not.
Crispin Glover is Crispin Glover.
Even his actions, how he moves.
Oh yeah, and then how he speaks, especially back then. At the time, how he acted.
So now, if you're especially as an actor, and he's an artist as well. So because he's had his own.
Right?
No, but yeah, for sure. But he's done his own. Whatever.
Oh yeah.
If there's a deep dive into Crispin
Glover alone,
look it up.
It gets really deep. Yeah, it gets really deep.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
But he's absolutely right in this sense because if I'm an actor and I'm creating an art and you need my art to make your movie, what's the, I'm glad that law got passed, because now somebody could just come in and pretend to be me for a minute, and then it's just like they're trying to do with AI.
Right now, they're trying to do that with AI to basically buy people with one-time use, to buy their likeness for all future uses. And I can only see it being used for like extras, people in the background. It can never be for a main character, but it can. Yeah.
Until it's not.
But it can, because
if Crispin Glover didn't do what he did, what would be keeping the studios from creating like an AI now with the technology? It
doesn't, especially for those that have passed away. They did it in Star Wars numerous times, right? In the newer Star Wars films, they did it with freaking, I can't remember, Admiral, whatever the hell is, I can't remember the actor's name.
Did they do it in Fast and the Furious with Paul Walker? Did they?
No, I don't think they brought him for a second. Did they bring him back in? I think that might have just been a cutscene from another film.
They just had the footage. Yeah. That's the thing too, is where's that line too?
Where's that line? And does his estate still get paid?
But they did that in Back to the Future too, because the ending, they just reused all the clips from the first one.
Oh, I know.
To have his likeness in there.
Exactly, which they could have done, but they still need to pay him for his time, his FaceTime on camera.
He needs consent to use his image.
Again, for the second film, I know.
Again, it's like, he should have sued, and it's a weird line here.
Yeah, but he won.
But Back to the Future,
and he was able to take them for the money that he deserved, which is what SAG and freaking the Screen Actors Guild are trying to Screen Actors Guild and
that's what they're striking for right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the AI thing of having their likeness used? They come in for one day of pay, and then they own their likeness for eternity.
You're right.
Like, that's insane. What do we Scientologists sign 1,000-year or billion-year contracts?
Exactly.
Like,
it's ridiculous. No, that's not how life works.
You pay me for every day to show up.
I feel like that's the way we're going to end up. There's going to be a point where AI is already at a point where I can go in to some of these image creating softwares and create a human being that doesn't exist.
Yeah. So, we see it all the time.
So at what point will they no longer need people to go, I want to buy your likeness? We're just going to generate fake ones on our own.
We'll just make a fake one. Well, they could. There's nothing stopping them from doing that right now.
There probably never will be, because there's nothing saying that we have to hire humans.
Exactly.
Right?
But that
CGI exists.
That 1% or, huge likenesses say like, okay, we're going to bring back Marilyn Monroe's. We have enough images of her to put her as an AI image in this movie.
Sure, but her estate still gets paid. That's what will happen if they use her in a film, right? Because her likeness as a person, Marilyn Monroe, if she is used in a film, her estate will still get paid.
Because of Crispin Glover.
Because of Crispin Glover. Because they're no using... Where in Star Wars, in the Disney universe, the Han Solo character, the Luke Skywalker character, the Princess Leia character, and so on, they literally signed off on using their likeness for those characters specifically.
For just those characters.
In all future use.
And that's okay. And that's okay. Right. I feel like even any sort of iconic character, say like a Johnny Depp Jack Sparrow, if he feels like he loves that character and he wants that character to continue on, for him to sign over. But the main thing here is consent.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is such a slippery. It's hard because Back to the Future is such an amazing franchise.
And it wasn't supposed to be.
We love it so much.
It was destined to fail.
I can't believe that
it got pawned off 40 times before the initial version, the Back to the Future 1, was ever even picked up.
Even with Steven Spielberg as producer?
Right.
Wow, they still didn't think it was...
They thought it was going to be a failure. So when it launched, the original one, 1985, whatever?
Yeah, 85.
And they thought it was going to be a bomb. And it took off like a bat out of hell.
I love that.
To this very day is
like
part of our pop culture, freaking an icon in our pop culture world of movies,
it's
right?
S tier. It's S tier where it's going to be around forever.
Absolutely.
It's iconic. It's going to be around forever. We're always going to be making references. There's always going to be people, references from Back to the Future
absolutely.
In our future, because it's so iconic.
For those that can't see, she's wearing a Rick and Morty shirt. So.
We're on a podcast. I'm wearing a Rick and Morty shirt, which is based on Doc and Marty. So,
exactly.
It continued down it, which to me is amazing. Good.
Oh, for sure.
I love it.
Absolutely.
But you know what they didn't get right in Back to the Future 2?
What's that?
Hoverboards. Why are we not hovering over everything?
So they did. So a few years ago, actually maybe it was a year ago, there's a video of Tony Hawk riding a hoverboard. A real hoverboard. A
real one?
A real hoverboard.
Not the water
jetpack? No. So it was really freaking cool. But it only exists on this copper surface of a half pipe they made, because it's got to be magnetized.
It's magnetic.
There's only way to do it.
That's not going to work. We can't have magnets everywhere.
You can't go and ride that on a regular. And there was a video a few years, probably about 10 years ago, probably when Back to the Future, probably when 2015 hit, for the whole Back to the Future time thing.
Yeah. They went big.
Somebody made a bunch of these hoverboards, the knockoff hoverboards that looked exactly the same. They float in video. They made a bunch of videos that look legit. And Tony Hawk rode one of those as well. And it looked. I think Michael J. Fox actually hopped on one. I can't remember.
I was gonna say, was he wearing the self-tying shoes when he rode this?
Those exist.
Those do exist.
But they made those because of the movie.
I know. That's one of those. That's the line there. That's one of those like. That's a.
It's like it was made because.
Okay, just like Pepsi Perfect that he orders in 80s Cafe, which they got right because we love nostalgia, obviously.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you're listening to a nostalgia podcast right now. So, we love nostalgia.
Is that what this is about?
That's what we're
doing. Fuck, I quit. I didn't realize what this
was. Welcome to the show, Josh.
Oh, fuck. All right.
So, they got that right because we love the 80s. They had the 80s Cafe. They brought it all back.
Only thing I did notice in that cafe, specifically that cafe scene, no one paid for shit. It's not like they had a chip in their arm. He didn't have any money. Like future money. He got a fucking... Pepsi like for free, basically.
Well, when you order from Reagan, maybe he doesn't care.
Maybe Reagan doesn't care. Reagan Headroom.
In the future,
Max Headroom, that was
Pepsi is
funny fucking reference.
Pepsi's free in the future, apparently.
Apparently, Pepsi's free in the future.
And in the cafe, Michael J. Fox is playing the shoot game. And those kids who one is Elijah Wood, a little baby Elijah Wood.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, oh, you still use your hands to play video games? Like, that's for babies.
Hands-free
video games?
Hands-free video games. I mean, to a certain degree, it exists. With the Apple freaking, what do you call it? Headset doesn't have any freaking
It's
controls.
Old now, but the Kinects, remember the Xbox Kinect?
Oh, yeah.
And you just moved.
We still have it, yeah.
And it worked. I feel like it wasn't the best.
No, for the Xbox One, it worked really well.
Oh, Xbox. I had it for the 360. I had it like right when it came out.
We had the 360 one, which was, you're right, it was very choppy.
Like, okay.
You have to be very obvious with your motion.
You're like,
but with the Xbox One, the camera worked really well. PlayStation did too.
Well, there you go. Hands-free video games. So they got that right. That's a check off.
Yeah. It didn't get super popular by any means because not a lot of people made games for them.
Yeah.
But then you got games like the Wii that had the freaking little controllers that were not technically
like Wii bowling,
but it was all motion controlled, right?
It was motion controlled, and
which is where our VR headsets come from.
Exactly, VR, motion controlled. Which you're using your hands, but you're doing the actual task.
Exactly. Another one of those things that they made, kind of like Back to the Future, the shoes and the freaking hoverboards or whatnot, is a lot of creators on YouTube specifically, and then a couple other companies decided to make lightsabers, like original era lightsabers that had the little pack on them.
Okay.
They made actual physically working hydrogen powered fucking like lightsabers that light up with actual fire and slice through shit.
Are they pre-tubed?
No.
It will do the lightsaber thing where it like
shoots a beam of freaking gas. Yeah, they're really cool. There's a YouTube channel called The Hacksmith. They built the first one. That one was really, really good. Then there was, I can't remember the YouTuber's name. Also another creator like that builds like a builder type guy. I can't remember his name. It's something Penn. Whatever. It doesn't matter. He built one too. Really freaking cool looking stuff. Not commercially available, obviously. It's nothing you can go buy.
But he still made it.
But they still made it. It's really freaking cool. It cuts through shit. It's not as fast as a lightsaber, obviously, but still really cool.
Do you think that's how weapons are going to look in the future?
Like a sword? I feel it's just so impractical.
I know.
But it would be a cool way to torch through things quickly without having to bust out a full like butane torch and chop through.
Melt it, be like
to cut through like a wall or something. I mean, the fastest way is to blast through it, obviously.
Right. We needed some sort of blaster thing.
Boom. Yeah. I mean, the what do you call it? SWAT team does that already. Blast through walls so they can lock down a room. But it was really cool.
Yeah. So, but it's like weapons in the future. That's scary.
Futuristic weapons. A lot of them. A lot of these like rail guns and like magnetically powered guns are being tried and used in today's world to see if we can replicate those more futuristic, quickly firing, zero sound type weapons that are just throwing a projectile at same speed but through magnets or through electricity, just to get it launching without any kind of explosive behind it, no primer or anything like that.
I can't wait for 20 years from now when we get to look back on, we'll react back to this episode and then we'll say how the future looks then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
We're time capsuling even right now, this moment in time, just like all these things from the past are trying to time capsule what the future will look like. And obviously it's all predictions because we have no idea because we don't have a time machine. I don't have a time machine. Maybe somebody does. I don't have one. I never even been in a DeLorean, so I really don't have a chance to travel in time.
We used to go to conventions a lot. We haven't been to one for a few years now, but there's always like a little, not always, but a lot of times there's like a section of movie cars that are there.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them at Universal.
Yeah, the Back to the Future DeLorean was there numerous times. Like, you know, the A-Team van, Kit from Knight Rider and stuff like that. All old school stuff. The Dukes of Hazzard, freaking General Lee was there. You know, all those cars that are iconic to the film and TV series and stuff like that, they were all there. So
okay, but
it was really cool to see.
You know what? Here's the question, though. What car are you going to take? What sort of, what supercar?
I would, out of a film?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That's a tough one.
Like you said, you had.
It has to be a car?
It has to be a... Yeah, it has to be a car.
Okay, there's so many vehicles.
You could get the Jeep from Jurassic Park. You could get Kit.
Airwolf is what I would fly. But yeah, as far as vehicles go, I would probably take the DeLorean only because I love the look of the DeLorean.
You just like how DeLoreans look.
I just like the DeLorean, yeah.
I want to be able to travel through time, so I would probably pick the DeLorean. Sure. Kit would be a close second because I just think he's cool.
Looking Trans Am, yeah.
Well, and he's just always he's just always there.
It's a pretty chill looking. I mean, it's a very iconic 80s freaking car. You
and
know?
Mr. Feeney does his voice, so that's just calming. So it's like I'll be okay with that.
This
like,
is true.
Like, thanks, Feeney. Yeah. Thanks for keeping me safe in my car.
What else did they get right? Oh, when Marty McFly gets canned at the house in the future when he gets fired from his boss. He was talking through a video wall. Basically, it's FaceTime again.
Yeah, but what they got wrong there was fax machines.
Fax machines. They still use fax machines, but not to the extent that they were showing. Like, it's in every room.
They were
Your fire was faxed in every room.
And because another thing they got wrong was the internet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't like really speak about the internet at all.
Not really.
It
How the
exist.
connectivity of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a thought process because the internet as a whole didn't really exist until 1991 for commercial use.
Yeah,
right? It
so
existed before that for military use, but
they didn't put that in there. So now they're taking what they know from the 80s, which is fax machines. So to them, it's like, we'll have one in every room.
Every room, not just the one for the business office. Every room will have a fax machine.
Could you imagine the ink? Like, there's just no way.
But it was dot matrix fax machines too, so it was like, it was fucking hilarious.
It was that old school kind.
Yeah. And the other thing, as well as the video screen, was Marty McFly's son. I don't know what his name was in the future. Was it also Marty? I don't remember.
No, wow, that's a big key moment we're missing here.
Yeah, I don't remember that what the kid's name is.
Griff is Biff's grandson's name. Yeah. I know Griff's name.
Yeah, Griff's name. But he talks like a freaking weirdo. What the fuck was that?
It's like, okay, Griff.
Yeah. Anyway, so
it's the future.
He was watching TV on a flat screen TV.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. So he's
huge.
like manhandling this TV like it's hung up like a picture, which is kind of silly because no one hangs their TV like that. But at the same time, he was telling it to go to channel this, channel that, and everything else that he's trying to watch all at once.
All at one time.
Picture in picture didn't exist back then, obviously.
And
multi-screen didn't exist.
And just the fact that it was a flat screen.
Oh, right,
they didn't have flat screens in the 80s.
No, not even close.
Not even close. It was a big box one.
Really fucking.
So they
cool
got that one.
They nailed that one perfect.
That one was good. I don't know if you have this on your list, but they show that picture they walk by and it says Surf Vietnam.
Oh, but yes.
Obviously, at the time, like...
Yeah, no one really went to Vietnam.
Nobody went to Vietnam.
Not a place to vacation to.
No.
But now it's like a surf haven. It's a place to actually go to spots in the world to go and catch a good surf.
So they got that right.
They did get that right. That was really freaking cool.
And that was a little subtle one that was like thrown in there a little bit.
Yeah.
They had drones.
They did have drones.
They got that right.
No, they were camera drones for the news channels. The FAA doesn't allow news stations, even though they still kind of do, doesn't allow news stations to use drones for air footage.
What? Why?
I don't actually know what the reasoning behind it is.
Because the helicopter pilots don't want to lose their jobs?
I don't know what the purpose is behind it. I really don't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but they still do.
They do it anyway. It's more of
it's also not the host of the newscast. You know what I mean? It's not the main.
Well, yeah,
subject. It's just the camera.
It's just the camera.
Yeah, but they got that pretty dead on for the most part.
You know what? They did pretty good.
They did pretty good.
I'm impressed. They got a lot of things right, but they did get a lot of things wrong.
Yeah, the self-drying jackets. We have self-warming jackets, but we don't have self-drying jackets.
I know, but they do have. I mean,
they have water wicking jackets
and
now.
It rolls right off.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic.
The
tech jacket. I have tech hoodies that will not get any water.
I was gonna say it's pretty close to almost dry.
The garment technology that we have today is pretty fucking close.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When it comes to
it's
stuff
not a puffer jacket. That puffer jacket would absorb all the water, and you'd be a weight, and you'd be sunk to the bottom of a little lake.
Yeah, right. Like,
you'd be pretty.
Check it in.
You'd be unzipping that thing to get out of the freaking water.
They drowned? Why? Oh, yeah. They were wearing their jacket that can't get wet, and they went in the water. Like, it sucked it all in.
There. Speaking of futuristic TV things, we were just talking about a minute ago. There was a movie called The Cable Guy.
Okay.
Did you see it with Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Chip, played by Jim Carrey. There's a scene where he's standing on top of the dish, the big giant freaking array.
Oh, I remember those.
And he's yelling down to who is it? Broderick. What's his freaking
Matthew Broderick?
Matthew Broderick, right? He's shouting down to him about basically the future of TV and the internet.
Okay.
He's basically yelling out about so and so you can watch this show while watching this show, and then you can shop online from home, and you could, what else did he freaking throw in there?
He was just yelling.
Or you can play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam. He got the internet dead nuts.
That was dead nuts.
Oh, freaking like spot on.
What year did Cable Guy come out?
I think it was 94. So it's right after the internet.
So it was right a little bit after the internet, but it was really projecting what it would become in the future.
The future, yeah. They did
being able to shop.
That line was exactly freaking dead. What's his exact line? You can visit the Louvre on one channel, watch female mud wrestling on another. Female mud wrestling was really big back then. And then, I know. And you can go shopping online at home, or you can play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam. Yep. And that was a dead nuts line. I mean, we're all thinking, because he's crazy in the film, so we're all thinking, like, he's nuts. There's no way that's ever going to happen. Sure enough.
And there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. And
not even but like 6 years later, it was a reality.
And it became a reality. And that kind of creeps me out, because now I'm thinking about when Jim Carrey played the Riddler. And when he does play the Riddler, he has this thing that does this like mind control through the TV. And it's like, what if that ever became a thing? Like,
well, there was like
but it wouldn't be the TV nowadays. It had to be your phone, because to get a mass audience, you're not going to get a mass audience on a TV screen anymore. Yeah,
they do have like subliminal messaging in commercials, which they made illegal. They used to like have a single frame in something to suggest something to you.
Oh yeah,
but I mean, that was back then though.
And the product placement they are paying for their spot, but it's literally so funny in movies. And I heard the story about Back to the Future 2, where they gave production California raisins, gave them $100,000 for like 4. They were supposed to have a plot line about raisins. They were supposed to have 4 scenes about raisins.
What the fuck?
I know, it's weird. And they didn't. There's only one shot where they just kind of pan over and they do like a raisins thing that nobody remembers, but everyone remembers the Burger King scene, or the Burger King product placement spot, and they didn't pay him anything. So raisins really got gypped.
Crazy.
And I'm sorry, raisins, but even $100,000, like, it's just not gonna happen. Like, we love the California raisins commercials, but nobody likes to eat raisins.
No, that's weird. Like, people don't even like raisins in things that require raisins.
Nobody likes raisins. Do not put raisins in your cookies, please.
Oh God, no.
Do not put raisins in your potato
cookies,
salad.
Oatmeal. Oh, gross. I know. There's a dish my mom makes that has, it's this like saffron rice. And it's got like almond slivers in it, which is okay.
Okay, we're good so
and
far.
And then a shitload of fucking raisins.
I'm out.
And just ruins it.
I'm out. I was okay with the almonds. I was on board.
Yeah, it was good. Like the little bit of nuts on there, it adds a little crunchiness to it, a little flavor.
Yeah.
But why?
I'm sorry, raisins.
Why?
I know you guys.
Sorry, for those of you that love raisins,
good though, because somebody has to eat them.
Yeah, because otherwise they just don't. I mean, I remember the little snack packs. I would get them in my fucking lunch, and they'd go right in the garbage.
My kids have gotten those, and I don't think they've ever eaten one pack. I tried. I'm like, hey, eat these raisins.
Yeah, because they're so cheap, right? You get them for like next to nothing, and because no one buys them. They're not a commodity that people want.
Nobody wants raisins. I mean, so much so they paid $100,000 to be in this movie, and they weren't represented.
They're like no.
Sorry, raisins.
Thanks for the money, but no.
I feel like the California raisins were all over the place for a minute. They really were trying.
My dad worked for this company called Applause, which made like stuffed animals and all the California raisin toys.
Oh.
Yeah, so he had every single California raisin toy.
That's what I mean.
He brought it, every single one home. And I remember back then that claymation California Raisins cartoon.
Oh, I loved it.
It was fantastic, I still hated raisins.
I know.
As a
Isn't
food.
that so funny?
Yeah.
I loved the California Raisins creations, and their claymation was really good.
Oh, good.
It was amazing. But I still can't eat a raisin.
No.
Sorry.
I mean, I can if somebody like said, here, eat some fucking... I mean, I've had oatmeal cookies that had raisins in them.
I want to.
I've had some... There's a restaurant chain up in Washington called Potbelly. It's a sandwich place, kind of like Jersey Mike's or something like that.
Yeah, like sub sandwiches.
Right. But they make their own oatmeal raisin cookies. There's very few raisins in there, but it's probably the best oatmeal cookie I've ever had in my life.
Do you go around them or do you eat them?
No, so we would buy the big freaking cookie and we'd bring them home because they close early, like at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Bring them home and put them on a freaking plate and put a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top.
Because
they make them fresh every day.
Oh, yeah.
So fucking good.
So good.
Sorry, now I want an oatmeal raisin cookie with a heap of ice cream on top.
Cookies with ice cream or brownie. Anytime you throw ice cream in there, it's next level. I recommend it.
Yeah.
I ate Raisin Bran.
Yeah.
But I don't think those are real raisins.
I don't know what's in there. They were all little shriveled up fuckers. I don't know.
They didn't taste like raisins, so I don't know.
They were covered in sugar. Those were coated.
That's
probably what made them good. Yeah, exactly.
They were covered in sugar. Okay, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
That sounds fantastic.
I'll eat those raisins. Wow, we literally just spent like 12 minutes talking about raisins. Sorry, guys.
Well, we just gave freaking raisins. They're $100,000.
Where's my $100,000? Where's my $100,000 California raisins? That was more than 4
They're like,
spots.
here's 100 pennies.
You know what? I would take it.
I would take it right about now. There was another movie back in the 80s called Blade Runner.
Okay.
The Harrison Ford.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it. So they made a remake of it with Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
Playing the character. Yeah. He's the main character in it. But
so
Harrison
hot right
Ford
now.
is in it too. I know. And it depicted a lot of things from the future. Flying cars, kind of like they did with Back to the Future.
Okay.
We obviously don't have flying cars, right?
No.
We have flying. There's a few people that have made flying drones that people can sit in and fly around. But they're super unsafe. They're not commercially ready.
We can fly in helicopters. We can fly in airplanes.
Yeah, but you can't take off from your backyard. FAA regulations won't allow that, right?
You can't just
float.
float.
You have to have a place that is actually designated a helipad, a safe place to land. Well, you got to know where you could fly to.
And that makes sense.
Yeah, and you got to fly at a certain height. Well, these things are supposed to fly at street level.
Do you think in the future, when we do have flying cars, it's going to be kind of like how streets are now, and it's going to be certain roadways, or this is a one-way, this is a one-way? You know what I'm saying? Is there going to be rules for the sky?
Very much so. Kind of like they do now. Because airlines have lanes in the sky where they're supposed to fly from one place to another. Otherwise, the skies would get cluttered, and you get a lot of problems for traffic control. So I could see that being the same for vehicles. FAA would come in and say, yes, you're allowed to fly from this point to this point, but you have to follow this trail or path.
It's like you have to go this
that's
way.
The thing. Yeah.
It had to be that way.
Now, but if you're out in the middle of the desert and you're trying to get from like here to wherever
you just go.
You just go.
You just
in the middle of the fucking desert. Kind of like you would take a dirt bike and just ride through the desert.
Just drive.
Same freaking thing.
Someone will call on you, but
yeah, I know you're gonna get.
They gotta catch you.
There's always someone that's gonna call on you.
There's always someone who's gonna call on you. I know. Somebody's always mad at something.
I know. Jeez.
It's
okay. I created no damage. I mean, with a hover vehicle that's causing zero freaking damage to the earth at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna get called on.
I know, right? They'll be like,
whippersnapper.
But it's gonna be us because we're gonna be old and or dead at that point. So
I think that'll be fucking cool, though. I would want to be that guy riding through the fucking desert on a.
We're not gonna see it. Our grandkids might, but we won't.
I think you're probably right.
I know.
I think you're probably right. But anyway, in Blade Runner, they did depict something that was really cool that we do see now in Times Square, in Tokyo, in Dubai, in parts of Vietnam, and in China. These giant digital billboards, right?
Because you're saying with the Jaws 19, how it came out and was like...
Yeah, but with the actual billboards, the digital billboards that we see now, just big screens that are on the walls.
Yeah.
Las Vegas, that giant eyeball in Las Vegas, the big dome.
Sphere.
Oh my God, that thing is amazing.
It's so cool. I haven't seen it in person. I've seen pictures of it.
I can't wait to go drive by and see it in real life.
It's an arena? Is that what it is?
It's It's an experience inside. I think you got to pay for.
Oh, I thought it was an arena for like music and stuff.
I think it might be. I think you're
right.
But
they probably do have an experience with it as well.
For sure.
It's Vegas. Everything's an experience in Vegas.
But it's really cool looking from the outside. It's just an amazing. It's the largest sphere.
Which is
covered in LEDs.
It's cool. Costs $2 billion, but it's cool.
They'll make their money back. So
they will. I know.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that Vegas failed on. That one I don't think is gonna be a.
That one will be a good one.
Especially if, like you said, it's a venue. It'll make its money back in no time at all.
I'm pretty sure it is, but I don't know, so don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I did hear something like that, so I think you're right. But we'll leave that up to you guys to correct us in the comment section
fact checkers.
below. Yeah. The one thing Blade Runner did get completely wrong is genetically made freaking humans. We don't really have that. We have genetically made parts right now that we can put into people.
Well, we cloned a sheep or something, right?
So... Yeah. But we don't have genetically made full human beings. At least we're not aware of that to the public.
And genetically modified as in like, because I know they have like...
made.
Like made.
Like ground up.
No human eggs or swimmies or anything like that to make this thing.
They were made like the Matrix grown from freaking scratch.
From nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard too because I love futuristic things and I love technology and all that stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, nature knows what the fuck they're doing, and like it knows what the fuck is up. I mean, it's a continual.
I mean, we'll probably see a wave eventually in the future. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
Where we're having kids, and those kids are genetically modified to be less susceptible to disease, kind of like plants are right now with Monsanto, making freaking disease-free fucking seeds and stuff like that. We'll probably see a lot of stuff like that in the human body in the future, where we're less prone to being sick from things. Our strength can be increased. You can probably pick color of hair and eyes and stuff like that. We'll probably see that in the next fucking 10 years. You know what I mean?
Be like, you know what, today I want to be
shop and make your child. You know what I mean?
That's kind of weird.
But I definitely see it coming because it'll probably cost, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Where there's money to be made, we'll allow it to happen in this country.
People pay a lot of money right now just to determine the sex of their baby.
Exactly.
So it's like, if you're going to spin it out and give me this, it's like if they could be like, if you could pinpoint traits, people would pay to do it.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. The like I said, nature knows what the fuck is up, and like how genetics work, and even just like with seasons and like how the earth is constantly re-engineering itself all the time, right? The leaf grows and it falls and it turns into dirt, then it comes a tree, and the same with water. Water is a constant cycling around. So it's like, and if we weren't here, it would still be happening.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
We're a fucking
the earth would be
fine
without us.
Oh, absolutely.
It would probably be better off.
It would probably prosper without humankind.
Us. Exactly.
Humankind in general,
And to see what the world was like before humans were here, I think that's what I would do. If I had a time machine and I had to go back in time, I think that's where I would go.
There's a movie called The Time Machine.
Do they go to the time before humans?
It's freaking crazy. So
I want to know all about it.
He creates this time machine. I think his wife dies, and he's trying to go back to being his wife.
Her?
Yeah, go back to see her, right?
Just to see her.
Just to see her.
I know I got hot.
And then he goes. I know it's already the air conditioning is done, so it's hotter than hell in here.
We're good.
Yeah. So he gets back in the time machine. I think he gets in a fight at some point in time and gets knocked out.
Okay.
And so he's passed out in his time machine, but it's going way into the future.
Oh, he doesn't know.
And he goes like 800,000 years into the future.
What does he see?
The world had succumbed to what life was like when Neanderthals were on the planet.
It went full circle, which it will happen.
Well, yeah, because we're going to get an ice age and stuff like that will happen again. Well, the planet is going to regurgitate us at some point.
History always repeats itself.
It was an oddly sad and entertaining movie all at the same time. But it's like one of those movies that kind of sets you like, oh my god, you imagine just going so far away from everything you've ever known. Yeah, I guess if you had nothing to go back to, if you were just that guy or girl that just had nothing to go back to, you had nothing to live for otherwise.
Yeah, then why not?
Just stay.
Just go, and then you can pull a Biff and become a millionaire.
King of everything. Yeah,
like I'm the king of the world now, and gambling is legalized.
Yeah, so it's funny how Jennifer in the very first one was what was her name? I don't even know the actress's name.
She quit acting after that, I think, or she took a break.
Yes, Claudia Grace Wells. She took a break because her mom was sick. Her mom had cancer.
Oh, honey.
So
Poor
she
thing.
didn't. So she didn't go into the second one. She said, I can't commit to this.
Couldn't,
and they brought in Elizabeth Shue to replace her, which puts me back to the point of why didn't they just bring in a new actor to replace
Crispin?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
why did they do that? Why not just reshoot with a new actor?
Because
they already brought in Elizabeth Shue.
It's because exactly what we were talking about earlier, when it's like you can't replace those mannerisms and you can't replace face.
But
and
to
this and
hide
that.
it and try to replicate it is shittier than just having to replace them entirely.
I feel so bad for that actor.
So cheesy.
Having to wear a prosthetic face of another actor who hasn't passed, this isn't something that, who doesn't even know that you're wearing his likeness. Like,
yeah, and the dude was in Crispin Glover was in his 20s at the time. You know what I mean?
Young,
jeez.
But also, was he in his 20s? Because he was on Happy Days.
Yeah, he might have been in his 30s.
He's been acting for a long time.
But the reason why he didn't go into the second one, they did invite him, I believe, and he said no.
They didn't invite him back. You want to know why?
Because he hated how the first one ended.
He hated how it ended, and he put up a fight, and they didn't even invite him back.
Right. Yeah, because he hated the fact that money buys you happiness.
Money equals happiness, and Crispin said, I don't like that ending. Even though they did work for it, it's funny because in the second one, Biff literally becomes, he uses it for wrong, right?
Yes.
He gets money, in the first one, yes, they kind of put that message, oh, money is happiness, but it's more of a thing of, they obviously worked for it, they have jobs,
But greed is not.
Greed is not. So if you take the second one where Biff did literally...
Now you have a story if you combine the two. Where
he changed the entire world, insanely just for money. Like it says, on his 21st birthday, he became a millionaire for betting on horses. Because he had the almanac, obviously. So it's funny how, he quit the movie because he didn't like the message, money equals happiness. But then in the second movie... they really put that out there of it doesn't, or you could use this technology for bad and completely change the world. Obviously Doc and Marty aren't out to do that, but Biff does because it's Biff. Of course he does.
Of course he does. Yeah.
So I don't know, it's crazy, but I get where Crispin was coming from. I wouldn't want to portray the message that money equals happiness.
No, but I don't believe, to me, in my eyes, at least, especially when I watched it when I was a kid and then I rewatched it again as an adult, I never got
You don't get that. I
never got that feeling. I just got the feeling that they did well for themselves now.
Me too. I mean? I think maybe because we weren't in it and we saw it differently than obviously we weren't there when it's being filmed, so we don't know the behind the scenes or all that stuff. But again, I also did not. I was stoked for him, obviously, with the truck and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited everything turned out exactly how it should have turned out, because that was the whole goal. His whole goal is to make sure his parents are together, right? So he accomplished his goal, and in accomplishing his goal, they were a little bit more well off because of his father's confidence that he instilled in him.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So
Marty instilled the confidence in his own dad.
In his dad,
which he didn't have before, so he had no ambition in life.
Exactly. So when I watched it, I didn't think. I didn't think money equals happiness.
I got what I got out of it was ambition equals happiness.
Yeah, the more amount of work you put into it, the better off the outcome it's going to be.
Exactly.
And it doesn't always have to be money. We can't say that they were only happy because of money. We don't know how his parents' relationship were. Maybe with that extra stem of confidence, their communication was increased.
Right.
And they decided to be better parents to their kids. And
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? There's so many
variables that they didn't discuss, which you could just assume on your own. But what Crispin Glover's gripe was, I mean, I'm not going to say it's not valid. He clearly had a freaking gripe about it.
Yeah.
And you can't unvalidate someone's feelings,
no, absolutely
right?
not.
So we can say his feelings were valid. I feel personally that they were a little misplaced. Now, being in the second one, I feel like his argument was sound.
Yes.
And I feel like he was vindicated for that. But that was a whole different scenario versus his argument over the first one.
But this is the question now for you guys. What was the message you got at the end of the movie? Did you think it was a happiness equals money or money equals happiness scenario? Or were you just happy that Marty got back because we were all so afraid that it wasn't going to work out anyway?
Was it a moot point? Was it not have nothing to do with money? It was just the fact that his family was together. No one vanished, right, from the very first one. And everything was happy-go-lucky after the
And they were rich, but they weren't Biff in the second movie
they were
rich.
They were middle class.
Off.
They were middle class, well off for the freaking...
They were comfortable, which I think could be established from the fact that he gained that confidence to push him more, right? Because in reality, it's like, fake it till you make it. So it's like, if his dad had such a hard time, he couldn't get a job or this and that, and it's like now he became an author.
He wrote this book, and he became middle class successful. He didn't become rich. They weren't living in this fucking castle. You know what I mean?
Castle.
I mean, they didn't live in in Beverly Hills. They still lived in the same house.
They were in the same house, so it wasn't. It was we're well off, or we have more. I guess. With anything, the most material item in that thing was obviously the truck.
The truck, right?
That's iconic,
right?
Like, I want that truck. Like,
yeah. I know. I think they just recently sold for like $100,000 or something.
Did it? That
same exact truck. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Now somebody owns that.
Yeah, and there's been a bunch of replicas.
So when they go to that car show that we were just talking about earlier,
that's one of those cars that could possibly be there because it's iconic. But not as iconic as the freaking DeLorean, obviously.
No. No.
And there's two versions of the DeLorean, really. Well, there's three technically, but the two main versions was the first one from the very first episode, and then first movie, and then the second one with the Mr. Juicer on the back.
Now it's
for the
more
second
high-tech.
one. Yeah, exactly.
Or now it's flying.
It's flying. It's very much high tech. Yeah,
we've gone up a
we're
lot.
going. We don't need roads.
We won't drive 88, but we'll fly.
Yeah, there's a lot of plot holes in the second one. Like a lot. Like I could probably go off like 100 different ways the second one had failed as a movie, but at the same time it was a very entertaining film, and I see where they were going with it. But there was a lot of questions about how old Biff took the car, knew how to get to the time he was going to, knew how to change the dials when it was clearly not simple.
It's not an easy.
No, and then comes back to the same exact time, and the world hasn't changed yet. It's bizarre. He should have went to that future, the crazy future where he was rich already.
To the crazy
just
one.
like they did.
Yeah.
Which was weird.
It's a movie though.
Yeah, I know.
And I do that
again,
too.
Plot armor.
But
lots of plot armor.
Here's the real question.
Yeah.
1, 2, or 3. What is the best Back to the Future?
1. Hands down.
You're going 1.
1. Hands down. 1 was the best fucking movie. I love that one. Which one do you like?
Guess.
3.
I love 3. I don't know why. Maybe I like westerns.
Maybe you like
westerns. Cowboys.
I did not like 3. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't.
I like love stories.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying?
What's her name was? That was her big time too. I can't remember the actress's name.
Oh, she's huge. She's in everything.
Doc's love interest.
Yes, she's in every movie ever. I feel like
Lloyd's
she's in
love interest.
Lots of stuff. But I don't know. It's fun. I like Wild West.
Yeah.
This is a question for the people. Do you want guests?
Yes, because we can invite guests.
We could invite guests if you guys are willing to listen to other people talk.
Yes, but we need people saying you want guests.
Yeah, we won't do it unless somebody says it.
Yeah, because it's a lot of effort, but we can get guests. We got some good ones too that we can get on this show.
Yeah, we got my mom. We got my dog. So what will the next thing be?
I don't know.
Future guiding.
Future guiding? What the fuck is
that? I'm gonna guess what the future is gonna be.
Oh.
And then they're going to come back and be like, oh my gosh, she was right.
What are we predicting?
Okay, future predictions. We're going to call this, we predict the future now.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. I like sound effects. So what do you think the biggest, just like, I want to go huge. I want to go huge.
You want to go huge?
Like how TV changed the world, how the internet changed the world, phones changed the world. Like what's the next big thing that is going to be,
Well, we can go right now.
In the future.
Something that's going on right now that's going to change the world in the next 10 years drastically. Excuse me, is AI. I don't think there's going to be any content on the internet that's going to be trustworthy in 10 years.
Because we just don't know.
Because everything's going to be...
trustworthy now?
Yeah, there is. Because you know that you and I are making this freaking show right now.
Yeah.
In the future, you won't know if you and I are making this show right now.
As far
there's going to be
people...
no guarantee who's actually speaking and what we're actually saying is going to be true.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a need for some type of authentication for every piece of digital content, so I know that person actually made it.
Well, they would just have to do it's literally no different than doing a paid promotion, right? Because for a long time people were doing commercials but not stating that they were being paid to do that commercial. Like really with early internet. It happened.
No. I know that happened, but I don't think it's going to be like that.
it will have to be a thing where they would have to state, like, you have to say, this is a paid promotion.
Yeah, but
you are blocking my camera. So good luck with that when you're editing later.
So the reason why I don't think that's the case is because if somebody's trying to put out a piece on somebody that's very important and they want to make it up, all they have to do is say that this is real.
But then people are doing that now. But you could do that right now.
But you could do that right now. But what I'm saying is, in the future, that stuff is so easy to spot that it's fake, though.
Yeah.
It's easy to spot a voiceover. But it's easy to spot a freaking digital, deep fake on somebody right now. If you really look, you can see that it's fucking fake.
Yeah.
But in the future, I feel like our technology is growing so rapidly that it's going to be hard to tell if Brittany's actually sitting there.
If it's me or...
If it's somebody removed you and made you say a bunch of racist shit and they post it. That's what I'm getting at. Somebody posted and say, look what fucking Random Rewind posted and this is undercover of them saying it off camera.
And I have to say, hey, I didn't say that, but then now it's their word against
yours. Now it's just
my fake word against my real word.
That's what I'm saying is I think there's going to need to be some kind of what
detector?
do you call it? Well, it's some kind of code, kind of like we have like for cryptocurrency or along those lines, where some kind of key that says this is validly originally made by John and Brittany.
Yeah. But
you know what I mean?
Or do you think nobody will care?
I think people will care.
Do you think it will?
I think there's gonna be a lot of people.
Do you think it'll happen so much because we talk about it?
Absolutely.
We talk about deep fakes.
I think it'll be rampant.
But do you think it'll happen so much that we just won't care anymore? Like we'll see a video of the president saying like, "Oh, this is bad times" or something. We're not even gonna bat an eye to it because we're gonna be so used to AI images of people that we're gonna be like, meh.
For sure, but at the same time, if somebody says something so off the cuff that doesn't sound like something they would say, I want to research to make sure that they actually said it. So if I know that was a President XYZ saying President XYZ speech, there's going to be some kind of verification saying that they said it.
So it's going to be
to me, that's going to be the check mark.
It's going to be literally no different than a scam caller calling you saying, this is your bank, you hanging up that phone and calling your bank back.
Correct.
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is. But I need some form of validation that I'm not being taken advantage of.
Google.
Are we blowing
up right now?
That's what it's going to be, though. But if somebody says something that's going to happen in the future, there's nothing to Google.
Yeah, it's true. Because we don't know if that's... But we could go on and it's like, did the president say this? And then the president could say, nah, I didn't say that.
But then we get issues of what people are doing now, where they're just gaslighting everybody saying, no, I didn't say that, when they actually did.
I know. I
see what I'm saying?
I know, but it's like... it's a slippery slope, but I think...
So like almost like every digital device may have to have some kind of registration saying that this was actually recorded
and I think that'll happen.
Not altered.
I don't think that would be hard to...
No, I don't think so. To implement?
Make technology that would say, hey, we can tell if this is real or this is fake.
Exactly.
This is
an original piece of content
That's
recorded.
Something we'll see soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll have to, because we'll have to combat that same thing happening. Because that's what they were saying even when deepfake came out, 10 years ago, or when deepfakes were a thing, and they're like
super bad, but now it's getting better.
But now they're saying the problem with that is there could be a leader or somebody that came on and said a horrible thing, where then in that moment, people are going to panic. I guess it's more of a thing of like, don't believe everything you see or read, which is the same thing it is now.
It is.
Do your own research.
But I do feel like we're gonna get to a point where everything's going to be untrustworthy. Yeah,
well, don't trust people you watch on the internet.
That's true.
Sorry.
What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, and in the future?
Yeah. In the next 10 years.
In the next 10 years. Like, what do I think the next big thing is going to be?
What do you think is?
I obviously think it's going to be something with AI, but I'm hoping it's something a little bit more helpful with, like, tasks. Like, I understand that they try to, like, almost what they're trying to do now, but they're actually going to really get it done. Like, I want jets and shit. I want my fucking washing machine to wash on its own, and I want
better home automation.
The counter to, like,
we're almost there.
Wipe itself, and, like, I want to do less work of the work that we have to do is...
You want a Rosie.
Yes, because with our jobs and our, being a parent and all this stuff, it's like, and then you have to keep house on top of that. I want that to be easier. Right. So this might be just for me because I don't like...
Right. Without hiring a housekeeper.
Yeah, just little
they're not doing everything you want.
It's like, I can do it. I just want extra little, like,
a help.
Extra little help.
Yeah.
Like you put that dish just ends up in the dishwasher somehow. I don't know how.
I don't know how, but it's gonna happen. Yeah.
Or you just have a self-cleaning plate where you're just like, I don't know. Who knows? Like
that's where technology goes.
I know.
But yeah, I hear you. You want a better assistant.
Convenience,
like
but real
physical assistant, not digital assistant. You want a physical assistant.
I don't even need it to be, I guess, physical, but then that's opening up to things in your house, and then it's like, what?
Well, no, you're talking about devices.
Record?
That's physical things, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I just want it to be. I just want it done.
A sink that seals up and just washes everything automatically, and then opens back up. Now everything's fucking clean. Great idea. That is a great. Fuck a dishwasher. Just throw your shit in the sink.
A 2-in-1 sink dishwasher. That's fucking brilliant. You just close it and
close the lid and just runs.
Oh, it's too hot.
Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I know we did. There's a whole lot of future talk. What do you think is going to happen in the future? We want to know.
I want to know future.
Exactly. So, yeah, do all the wonderful little things. The likes and the subscribes and the
backhand, the notification bell.
Till the next one.
We're out.
See ya.
Bye. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That was good.
It wasn't as good.
Did that hurt? It sounded like it hurt. It sounded like a wet smack.
It did tingle a little bit. There we go. That's how you do it. That one sucked.